50 meters beneath the surface of the Mediterranean, off the coast of Adrasan, Turkey, the deep blue silence hides a time capsule. Usually, when we talk about ancient shipwrecks, we picture chaos. We imagine scattered timber, broken shards, and debris spread across the ocean floor by centuries of currents. But in July 2025, divers from Turkey's Heritage for the Future project, led by the Minister of Culture and Tourism, descended into the gloom and found something that should exist. They found order. What they discovered is being called the ceramic wreck, or the Adrasan plate wreck. It is not just a ship, it is a suspended moment in time, a commercial transaction interrupted by a storm in the 1st century BC. Instead of a debris field, the divers found thousands of red plates, stacked in teetering, defiant columns, sitting exactly how the stevedores placed them 2,000 years ago. Today on G Fun Facts Online, we are going deep into this discovery. We are going to decode the economic engine of the Roman Empire, analyze a 2,000-year-old engineering marvel involving raw clay, and challenge everything we thought we knew about ancient maritime logistics. Let's dive in. To understand why this wreck is sending shockwaves through the archaeological community, we first have to look at the cargo itself. Most Roman shipwrecks we find are what archaeologists call amphora tumuli. These are mounds of large, robust jars used to transport bulk liquids like wine, olive oil, and garum, the fermented fish sauce Romans loved. Finding a ship dedicated almost entirely to fine dining ware is incredibly rare. But the Adrasan wreck is exactly that, a plate wreck. The specific type of pottery on board is known as Eastern Sigillata A, or ESA. If you were living in the 1st century BC, this wasn't just a plate, it was a revolution in dining technology. Before this period, the fashion in the Mediterranean was black glazed pottery, which was meant to imitate the look of tarnished silver. But as the Roman Republic transitioned into an empire, the aesthetic shifted. The world developed a taste for gold and bronze plate. The problem, of course, was that the vast majority of the population could not afford solid gold dining sets. Eastern Sigillata A was the answer. Produced in the region of northern Syria, likely around the city of Antioch, this pottery was fired to a deep, rich red and coated with a slip that achieved a glossy, almost metallic sheen. It looked like polished copper or bronze. It was durable, it was beautiful, and crucially, it was stackable. The cargo of the Adrasan wreck is strikingly uniform. Archaeologists have found hundreds of identical plates and bowls of specific standardized forms. This is evidence of industrial production that rivals the modern era. These were not unique artistic creations made by a lone potter. They were mass-produced in manufactories, designed to be shipped in bulk to the aspiring middle class of Italy, Gaul, and Spain. This uniformity tells us something profound about the Roman world. It suggests the rise of a powerful consumer culture. This ship wasn't carrying a custom order for a king. It was carrying bulk goods for a market. When a merchant in Gaul or a landowner in Spain set their table with these red plates, they were signaling their participation in a civilized way of life. They were buying into the brand of the empire. This is what we call Romanization. Being Roman wasn't just about paying taxes or speaking Latin. It was about dining like a Roman, eating from a red-slipped plate, and drinking from a specific shape of cup. The Adrasan ship was effectively carrying the Roman lifestyle in crates. Now, let's look at the engineering miracle that preserved this cargo. This is the part of the story that has baffled and delighted modern experts. As I mentioned, ancient shipwrecks are usually encrusted with concretion. This is a concrete-like coating of marine organisms, barnacles, worms, and coral, that locks artifacts together into a hard mass. Cleaning them usually takes months of acid baths and mechanical chipping. But the Adrasan ceramics are pristine. When divers fan away the silt, the red gloss shines as brilliantly as it did when it left the kilns of Antioch. The reason for this is a preservation technique that acted as an ancient engineering marvel, the clay cocoon. The crew of this doomed merchantman had packed their fragile cargo in raw clay. This served a dual purpose. First, it was a shock absorber. In the rough seas of the Mediterranean, the soft, pliable clay prevented the stacked plates from rattling against each other and shattering. It was the ancient equivalent of bubble wrap or styrofoam peanuts. But the second function was accidental and miraculous. When the ship sank and settled into the low-energy, silt-heavy environment of the seafloor, the clay packing did not dissolve. Instead, it hardened into a mud seal, creating an anaerobic or oxygen-free cocoon around each plate. Marine life needs a hard substrate to colonize. They cannot latch onto soft mud. Therefore, the clay prevented the ocean from reclaiming the cargo. This preservation is so complete that archaeologists are hoping to find more than just pottery. The clay seal might have preserved organic residues, traces of straw or reed mats used between layers, or perhaps even the fingerprints of the stevedores left in the wet clay 2,000 years ago. It offers a rare, intimate connection to the invisible hands that built the ancient economy. It turns the object from a simple artifact into a fossil of human behavior. From a logistical standpoint, the ceramic wreck is forcing historians to rewrite the textbooks on Roman trade routes. For decades, the dominant model of Roman maritime trade was the parasitic theory. Historians believed that fine pottery was a secondary cargo, stuffed into the empty spaces of ships that were primarily carrying bulk staples, like grain or olive oil. The logic was that pottery was too cheap and too fragile to justify a dedicated voyage. The Adrasan wreck challenges this view head-on. The sheer volume of ESA on this ship, and the apparent lack of other bulk cargoes, suggests that this vessel may have been chartered specifically to move high-value tableware. This implies a level of market sophistication we previously underestimated. It suggests that the demand for Antioch red in the West was so high that merchants could turn a profit by filling an entire ship with nothing but plates. We can even reconstruct the route. The location of the wreck off the Lycian coast of Turkey gives us the trajectory. The ship was likely sailing west from the Levant, hugging the southern coast of Anatolia before attempting the open sea crossing towards Greece, and eventually Italy. This was the superhighway of the ancient Mediterranean. The currents and prevailing winds favored a counterclockwise route. The ship likely met its end in a sudden storm, a common fate off the treacherous headlands of Lekkai, but the tragedy for that crew is a gift for us. By freezing the cargo in transit, the wreck allows us to see the supply chain in action: production in the kilns of Antioch, specialized packaging in the port of Seleucia Pieria, shipping on a medium-sized merchantman, and intended distribution in a major hub like Puteoli or Ostia. As excavation continues, the Adrasan wreck represents the future of high-tech archaeology. The artifacts are currently undergoing desalination and conservation in Antalya. This is a delicate process because the clay coating, while protective, has kept the ceramics wet for 2 millennia. If dried too quickly, the salts absorbed by the pottery would crystallize and shatter the glaze. But beyond the pottery, scientists are looking to use residue analysis to see if the clay packing contained antifungal agents and chemical fingerprinting to pinpoint the exact clay bed where the pots were made. They are even using 3D modeling to understand the stowage factor, how ancient stevedores optimized space in the hold. The ceramic wreck is more than a collection of dirty dishes. It is a time machine. It transports us back to a world of bustling ports, savvy merchants, and skilled artisans. It reveals a globalized economy that, in many ways, mirrors our own, a world connected by trade, driven by consumer demand, and reliant on the perilous work of mariners. As the divers continue their work, unsealing those clay cocoons one by one, they are decoding the DNA of the Roman Empire, one red plate at a time.